And a pleasant good evening and welcome to Bedtime Stories, the show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed but never to sleep with the greatest love songs of all time. It's your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer, officially checking in. How was your day at work? My day at work was not a day at work. I was at home all day, enjoying it. I had a ball. My whole day consisted of watching the best of Flip Wilson. That was about it. The best of Flip Wilson, yeah. Anyway, coming up in our last hour, we do a little thing we call foreplay. Four songs by one of your favorite artists or groups, male or female. That comes up in our last hour here on Bedtime Stories. As we continue to celebrate the birthday of Miss Anita Baker, this is giving you the best that I've got. And that's all I can do, right here on Bedtime Stories with your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. Good evening, Angela. What's up, sis? Oh no, two Angelas. Auntie Marie. Hey. Two Angelas for the price of one. Thank you. Angela Maria. Hello. How are you, sweetheart? Thank you for being on my live. Wow, what do I owe this? Why, thank you. Long time no see, sweetheart. I was just talking about you the other day. I said, when I got hired at JPC, I had my quota of people. They said I could only hire one more person. I said, okay. So it was between you and another person. I can't remember who the person was, but that person didn't have a vehicle to get to work. And of course, we were out in Lansing. So unfortunately, that person never made it. And you got there just in time as we were wrapping up our day of hiring. I don't know if I ever told you that, but you were the last person that I hired that day. And I'm glad I did. Probably one of the best hires I'd ever made. So, and I'm not just saying this because you're on my live. I've said this before. Out of all the people that I hired who were already in the business, you were one of the best that I hired who was not in the business. So, and most of them, they're either gone or no longer in the business. So you're one of the few that stuck it out. So yeah, yeah. Of course, we lost Smooth Steve Williams last year. Um, Now, really haven't heard from anyone else. I saw Gashelle Coffee at a funeral with Jerry Simmons. I saw her. Everybody else, Gene Phillips, he came to borrow equipment from me, and of course, never returned it. CW, I don't know what he's doing these days. Pastor Charlie, how are you, sir? You're looking well. Thank you. Well, yeah, I've been asleep all day. Glenn Stokes, long time no see. Farrah's Fashions. Yep, but Angie, I haven't heard from anyone else. You know, like I said, we lost Smooth Steve Williams. I was trying to get him back into radio, but he was hard headed. He wanted to go to a radio station. I said, well, you know, we're not doing that anymore, Steve. I want to go inside of the station. I said, you know, he said, I don't want no mixing board. I want a regular radio board. I said, well, we're not doing that anymore, Steve. So unfortunately, um, I couldn't convince him to do internet radio. He wanted to be on AM or FM. It's like, bruh, it ain't happening. So that was it. But Glenn Stokes, is always good to hear from you, Pastor Charlie. I will see you on Sunday. Hopefully, if things work out, I will be there on the organ at 11 o'clock. So, kind of work things out where I don't miss any money. So I go straight from church to work instead of going home. Had to go up the block to get me a strawberry pop. Okay, all right, Troy. I'm glad you could join us. But been trying to work some things out so that I don't miss any money. So you know, the wife saying you look younger. You're really, I look younger. Well, thank you, thank you. I appreciate that. Like we always say, we don't look like what we've been through. You know, I've been really going through it. Um, my hours were cut at work. I'm only working 2 days a week on each job. Actually, make more money at the other job than I do at what's supposed to be my main job. But you know, but anyway, I'm trying. Two in a row from Anita Baker, Sweet Love, and giving you the best that I've got right here on Bedtime Stories with your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. Good evening to Pastor Charlie Mabry, also to Mabry, I'm sorry. Also to my sister from another mister, Angie Martin Turner, and Angela Maria. She was one of my um, personalities when I worked at WJPC. As a matter of fact, when she came in, the she was like the last person that I hired. She came in, and I never heard her tape or anything. I just heard her speak. I said, all we have left is part time on, I think it was Saturday and Sunday that she was on, and did a great job and continued to be in radio, which is a wonderful thing because most people that I've hired, they're either deceased or just got out of radio altogether. But I'm glad to see Angie Marie still doing her thing, and I really appreciate you. Maybe one of these days I can get you on my station. I don't know. Here's the first of two in a row from Michael Franks on Bedtime Stories. Yeah, the question is younger than what? I know, right? Yep. But tell your wife thank you. I really appreciate that. Like I said, I don't look like what I've been through. I asked somebody, I said, you wouldn't happen to have any room over there at your laundromat, you know? And he just laughed. I said, no, I'm serious, bro. I'm serious. Um, like I was saying, January is usually a slow month for us DJs. So ain't nobody getting married. The last party I had was on the 1st. Well, actually the 31st. So that was it, you know. Uh, I'll be happy to. Absolutely. I can promote my little DJ business. my, my little DJ business, as people call it. Oh, you got that little, you still do that little DJ thing? And like, yeah, I still do that little DJ thing. You know, you know. But let me know when. I'll be there. Because it looks like I have plenty of time. I have nothing but time. I got more time than I got money. So, yep, that's it. More time than money. Tuesday at 12:30. Bet. I'll be there. Just tell me where, and I will be there. Yeah. That's one of the days that I'm off. I'm off Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I work Thursday and Friday. And that's it. Yep. 2 days a week. 2 days a week at VON, 2 days a week at BGX, the Big Gospel Express. And that's it. Everything else is doing voiceovers, and I'm trying my darndest to get on somebody else's station so that I can do what they call voiceovers. Not voiceovers, but voice tracking for another radio station. So that's going to be something that I'm working on this year, because once I turn 65, I'm not leaving the house unless I go DJ somewhere, and that's it. So, Glenn Jones, good Lord, you're always the same guy that we met you. You could never tell what was going on, uh, going through anything, because you always keep a beautiful personality. You always have a good sense of humor and character. Glad to have you as a friend and brother. Thank you, sir. I can't be any other way, you know. 12026 Holiday Drive in Alsip. Let me put that down now. Put that in my calendar. because I was actually offered another job in Milwaukee, but I don't. I'm not sure that I want to make that move. So working on it. I am definitely working on it. All right, Tuesday. Tuesday is the, let's see, today is the 28th. Ooh, Lord. Where did this month go? Add title. $12.30. And add location. 120. 26. There we go. I got it. And I will be there. Edward T. Bell, what's going on, sir? Mm-mm-mm. Secret safe with me. Mm-mm-mm. Two in a row from Mr. Quiet Storm himself. Michael Franks, it's called Your Secret Safe with Me, right here on Bedtime Stories. Hello to Pastor Charlie. Thank you for being on my live. And also to Glenn Stokes. Glenn, man, I cannot remember when I met Glenn, but I know that, we've been buddies for a long time. When you know somebody for so long, I say, brother. I used to say that about Casper. They said, how long have you known Casper? I said, all of our lives. After a certain part, or a certain point, I should say, we were no longer, friends. We were just brothers, you know, and that was it. Yeah. Miss that guy. Also, hello to Edward T. Bell. Thank you for excuse me for saying your whole government name, sir. Thanks for being on my live. I appreciate you. This is Bedtime Stories, the show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed but never to sleep with the greatest love songs of all time. As we try to play music to soothe the savage beast. So far, it's working, right? I hope. From the album Sounds and Stuff Like That, the same album where I get my theme song. Here's Patty Austin and Superwoman on Bedtime Stories. So my computer started back up. That's weird, but I'm going to leave it alone. Wait till the end of the show to play with it. By the way, not only am I on Facebook today, I am also on Twitch and YouTube. So, but of course, you won't be able to hear the music except on our website. So, wow. I think I'm gonna run a virus scan on my computer and see what the problem be like. You still got that $100 bill when you first set out on that new gig you had hanging on your wall. Actually, I still have the first check that was given to me when I first started my station. Um, and of course, that first check was from you guys. So that was it. I still have that check, not the $100 bill. You know, I hadn't spent that by now, but I still have the check from you guys when I first started my own station, and I really appreciate that. You know, man, it just it seems like it was a long time ago because I remember having to sleep at the radio station. Um, at that point, I had nowhere else to go. So I was actually sleeping in my office at the radio station. I never will forget that. I would do my show and then I would go into the next room, which was my office, and I would go to sleep. That was it. You know, they had a bathroom there and I would wash up in the bathroom and I had my clothes with me and I had a TV in my office and a microwave and a refrigerator. Had all of that stuff. And that stuff is probably still in there. You know, it was a brand new TV that I got from Rent-A-Center. Someone had given me a refrigerator and that was it. So, oh, I said, uh, don't try to spend it now. I know, right? Oh, man. But I remember, like it was not that long ago. But uh, my granddaughter was still a baby then. My granddaughter was still a baby, and she would go everywhere with me. I had my own diaper bag and everything. I know probably told this story last night. I had my own diaper bag. I would have snacks for her. She liked eating Cheez-Its like I do, and that was it. I would set my clock to go pick her up in the afternoon at 3 o'clock, and then I would do my rounds because at that time uh, I was doing transportation because I had a van. So, you know, how about that? I remembered all of that, but I remembered, being in that office, and you know, my workers would be next door doing their show, and I would be next door either asleep or whatever, and that was it. I had nowhere else to go. Yeah. Yep. Out of all my buddies, all my friends, all my pals, nobody would let me stay with them. Yeah. Thank you, Glenn. I had nowhere else to go. I stayed for a while with Lady G, and ended up getting my own apartment inside the Montclair over on 78th and Woodlawn. I never will forget that. But she allowed me to stay there, even though I wasn't on her lease. Um, that was it. But she allowed me to stay. Or stayed there almost a year until I found somewhere else to go, and haven't looked back since. I've I've lived from house to house, from couch to couch. One spot I slept in a basement. The other spot I slept in one of my one of my daughter's rooms because she had moved out. So yeah, that when you guys were together. Oh yeah, oh yeah. When I tell you, there were times that, and I'm gonna try not to cry. There were times that I didn't think I was going to make it. When I moved in here was maybe 2 or 3 years ago. Before then, I slept in a pastor's basement. So in the wintertime, I had to sleep with the, you know, space heater right by my head because it was so damp and cold in the basement. Yeah. And there was no shower. I had to wash up in the sink. From the album Sounds and Stuff Like That, that is Patty Austin and Love Me by Name. I love that song. It's your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. This is Bedtime Stories. I was telling my story when I was semi homeless. I had nowhere else to go. I slept on everybody's couch in their basement. There were times where I didn't think I was going to make it. I slept in my truck, in my van, a damp basement. I slept on a love seat for almost a year. I mean, just so many things. And then finally, I got my own apartment after so many years. And I've been here for like going on 2 or 3 years now. And never thought I would be able to afford rent again. Still can't, but I'm making it. I'm making it. Like Lamar just said, God is awesome. He's awesome and amazing. I could have been gone. I could have been 6 feet in my grave. But he felt otherwise. He kept me for a reason. And that was it. He kept me for a reason. He said, Glenn Stokes said, I remember you had a flat tire at night. I was wondering why you never called us because you were about 10 minutes away from us. We were so upset with you. The reason being, Glenn, is because, I try to work things out before I call out for help. I remember one night I ran out of gas on the expressway and I had to explain as to where I was so that the guy could bring me gas. And then he talked about me once he got there. He said, man, you're supposed to fill up your tank. I said, I'm driving a van. And like $80 to fill up that thing. But I made it. I made it. And I'm still here. Here's Daryl Hall and John Oates from last night. Here's She's Gone on Bedtime Stories. Yep. I always try to work stuff out before I start crying out for help. Yep, that's just the way I am. Whew. That wasn't the only night, Glenn. There was another night where I the car stopped on me. I think I was driving a van and I had to do my show, right? Um, so I just happened to have, I think, a one of those Wi-Fi hotspots, and I ended up doing my show in the car. Yeah. I know. Only the strong survive. Yeah. But it was crazy. One night I just could not. I was waiting on a tow truck, a tow truck that never showed up. By the time that tow truck came, my show was over. I know. I know what you meant. It was crazy. My my wife was so angry at me. I was like, don't be angry at me. It's the car. I didn't tell the car to stall. So, of course, this was before COVID. So, um, I think we rode in the truck and we got home, and that was it. But that van would not start back. And we were on the side of the road doing bedtime stories. I never will forget that. The only thing I couldn't do was talk. I could play the drops and the music and everything, and it sounded normal. But boy, oh boy, been through some stuff. I have been through some stuff, and some people, they get angry when something happens. They get pissed, and my thing has always been, if you're pissed off at something, then you cannot concentrate on what to do next. Like if you have because one night I was driving along and I never will forget this. I heard this noise. I was on the Bishop Ford and I heard this noise. And I'm like, okay, maybe it'll stop. And it stopped. And by the time something told me, get off the expressway. So I was almost at 95th and Stony. So when I got to Stony, the the left tire, or the tire on the driver's side in the front, flew off of the truck. And the truck was like this, and I'm riding on the rim, like on one of those TV shows. And I'm riding on the rim. I'm like, Lord, just let me make it and park my truck, and get something, and get to work. And I finally made it to work. I called my buddy Percy. Percy came and picked me up. I parked the car in the lot where I used to live. And he took me to work. And that was it. The next day I went back to where my truck was. And my daughter took me home. I said, pull over. I think I see my tire. And sure enough, my tire was sitting on the side of the road. And that little space in between, going north and south. What do they call that? The island? Yeah. And there it was, laying in the grass. So my good friend and brother, DJ Frosty, I never will forget, picked me up, took the tire. We got a tow truck to a mechanic that he knew. I paid $850 to have them to put the tire back on because everything had come off. Everything had to be replaced. Everything. I never will forget it. You know, old Frosty, rest in peace. I never got a chance to see him before he passed. He called me one day. He said, man, I got some speakers over here. I said, well, Frosty, I don't have no money to give you. He said, don't worry about it. Come over here and we'll work it out. I never made it. I never made it. When I did call him, his wife picked up the phone. She said, I'm trying to get him to the hospital. And that was it. I never heard of any funeral arrangements or anything. He was just gone. That was the beginning of me losing people. People that were near and dear to me. Frosty used to tell me these fantastic stories about the VON good guys. I was like, wow, you know. I said, who's going to tell me these stories now? You know, but yep, that was a rough year that year. I lost a lot of people. You know. Oh yeah, that tire. You know, the Lord was on my side because I could have lost control of the van, the truck, and I didn't. Same song, different artist. Travares and She's Gone, and before that, the writers of that song, Gerald Hall and John Oates, and She's Gone, right here on Bedtime Stories. The show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed but never to sleep with the greatest love songs of all time. Glenn Stokes says, I didn't know you were very good friends with Dinah Lynn Biggs from Gary, Indiana. We have known each other since we were coming up in the business. As a matter of fact, the first radio station that I worked for, that I actually got, you know, paid, was WLTH. And Dinah Lynn was there that day that I got hired, and we became real close friends from there. And that was some 40 years ago. Yep. And we've been in touch with each other ever since. Yeah, that's her. But thank you for mentioning her, because right now we're on Biggs Radio Chicago as we broadcast from Indiana. No, we were in Indianapolis. She had stations all over, but she decided to just concentrate on this one station, Biggs Radio Chicago. So, but we thank you for joining us as always, and we hope you hear something that you like. If you hear something that you don't like, feel free to call me and tell me how bad it was tomorrow. Okay? Or hit me up on Facebook. Here's the first of two in a row from the Gap Band. This is Yearning for Your Love on Bedtime Stories. Yep, Dinah Lynn and I have known each other forever. Forever, ever. Some people thought that her and I should have gotten married. Well, as she said, she thought I was a nerd. She thought I was just, she was dating celebrities, you know. Um, she used to date Marco Spoon from BMX. Yep. And and Jim Rose from Channel 7. So I was not in that category. I wasn't in her league. So I just fell back and just watched her, date these guys. I was like, okay, yeah. The Dells coming up. But yeah, she was busy dating those guys. And anytime she had something to say about them, I was a good listener. I was a good listener. I was a good listener. And she would, tell me what they did and everything else. I'm like, man, I was like, to me that was a big deal because, they were celebrities. They were both, one of them was on a station that I wanted to work at and the other one was in TV. So I'm like, there's no way I can compete with that. And I didn't, I just sat back and was the best friend that I could be to her. And that was it, you know. I'm like, she don't like me like that. So that was it. So I basically kept to myself and dated other young ladies, and that was it. So, but I think by us both being Capricorns, we weren't really compatible with each other. So, but every now and then we would have lunch um, over in Lansing. You know, she still lived in Gary, so we would always have lunch on a certain day, and that was it. You know, we would hug each other, get back in our cars, and I'd go back to Chicago, and she'd drive back to Gary. That was it. But our meeting spot was in the middle, and that was Lansing. So, and I forgot what restaurant we used to go to. We used to go to the same restaurant. So, Glenn Stokes says, your knowledge of the Music Man, those old jams that you play sometimes take me back to memories of how good it was back in those days. I guess the words uh, in the sun mean so much, and then you can relate to them so easy. I mean, from the time I was, you know, able to have a radio. I mean, I had a radio even before, you know, my dad would always put a transistor radio in my bed. And I think that was his way of, putting me to sleep. The music you know, would lull me to sleep. So as I got older, I couldn't go to sleep to dead silence. So I guess that's how I became fond of people like Herb Kent and Jim Rags because they were on at night. So, I listened to them, listened to them all night until I went to sleep. So, yep, two of the greatest, two of the greatest that ever did it, you know. Herb was dad and Rags was Uncle Rags. But they were, man, they were fantastic. You know, they were great. Do you ever DJ and at grammar school or high school? It seems like you're so knowledgeable. No, I never DJ at. I don't. I just don't. Um, I've never been asked to DJ at a grammar school or high school. That's just not the type of music that they listen to these days. So I just, you know, I think the last time I did something was um, it was for Black History Month one year, and I showed people the difference between, uh, you know, uh, the original songs versus sampling. So I had this sampler, right? And I used it to show them the difference. I said, now you hear this song, and I played the song. I said, doesn't sound familiar, does it? And the kids were like, no. I said, there's a part of this song that is used in a rap record. And, it's the whole track of the song. It's why they take a little piece of that song and I played it and they're like, okay, so what's the song? The song was Keep On Truckin' by Eddie Kendricks. And the sample that they used was by, what was the guy's name? He was a rapper, MC Cheeks or something like that. And the name of the song was, don't, damn. And I forgot the name of the song. But anyway, when I was coming up, I DJ'd in grammar school and high school all the time. I was the only DJ up there, and they didn't have to pay me until I got into high school. Then I started getting, uh, you know, $50, $75 when I was in high school to DJ the sock hops. So, yeah, but that was back in the day. Um, what was the name of that song? It'll come to me later. I almost had it too, but there's a part in the song where it's like the breakdown. And I took that little part. Lights, camera, action. There it is. That's the name of it. And they were amazed. It's like, wow. So they took that little part of that song and made a whole song out of it. Dun, 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 dun. And they just sped it up a little bit and put another beat behind it. And they were just so amazed that I knew that. Like, how does this old man know all of this stuff? So it was kind of cool. When did you realize you wanted to do it professionally? Well, I was 13, and the people who lived across the street from me, every now and then they would have little parties at their house, and these were older people. They were like in their 60s then, so they wanted to, they wanted to hear some music, and I was like, okay, well, and I would, drag my equipment across the street and DJ for these older people. All they wanted to hear was Tyrone Davis, Al Green, Bobby Blue Bland, Johnny Taylor. Um, so I did that, and I said, wow, I can make money doing this. And that was it. And that was at 13 years old, you know. They always said, if you want to stay up with us, you got to play some music. I was like, okay, cool. And that was at 13, 14 years old. And by 18, I was professional. I graduated from high school. I was already a professional DJ. Then I wanted to be a radio personality. So I went to broadcasting school because I heard that Herb Kent went to the same broadcasting school, which he didn't. Two in a row from the Gap Band that is going in circles, originally done by Friends of Distinction, right here on Bedtime Stories. Before that, Yearning for Your Love. Troy wanted to hear some Gap Band, I guess. I think he did. Or maybe he was testing me again. Anyway, it's your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. This is Bedtime Stories, the show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed, but never, ever to sleep. Hear the Dells and I Touched a Dream, written by Eugene Record of the Shawlites. Hey, how you doing? Yep, I wanted to have my own radio station because I knew I would never work at WVON because I was too young. I had to be at least 18 to work there. So I put together my own radio station in the basement of my parents' house, and that was it. Ooh, excuse me. So I had just about the same setup that I have now. So that was it. And one thing led to another, and that was it. One thing led to another, and next thing I know, I was on WHPK, which was in Hyde Park. I worked there for a while. There was a new station coming up in South Shore, which was WSSD, which was inside the bank building on 71st and Jeffrey. I worked there for a while. I kind of worked my way up the dial. Um, then I worked for Kennedy King College when they were just a 10-watt radio station. And that was it. Thank you, Glenn, once again. Thank you. But I became one of the KKC gang at the time, along with um, Antonio Bell, Edward Bell, Alonzo Common, P.J. Willis, Maurice King, Walter Get Down Brown, Brian Furious Frazier, Gerald Kelly, James Kelly, all of those guys. And they were all at KKC at the time. And one thing led to another. And finally, I got hired out in Gary at WLTH and was getting paid and still living at home, getting paid. So, I'm starting a radio station with the call letters work. Our catchphrase will be, unlike the Isley Brothers, we have work to do. I know that's right. But I was making almost or more money than my parents were making staying at home. Herb was one of the mentors. Yes, Herb was definitely one of my mentors. And I say this all the time. It was the best education I never had to pay for. So between Herb Ken and Richard Pegee, I learned an awful lot. An awful lot. Both of them were DJs in the street, and both of them were on the radio. So everything that I learned was from them. Oh, and my uncle, he was a DJ. His name was Paul Greer, but he went by DJ Pookie. And I learned how to hook up stuff, left and right, in and out, input, output, all of that stuff. What a ceramic cartridge was as opposed to a magnetic. I mean, all of that stuff I learned from him. He gave me my first receiver, which was a Sanzui. I don't know how many watts that sucker was, but it was powerful. My uncle has one. My uncle Ron has one, but he won't give it up. He's got a Sanzui amplifier, which is probably about as powerful as a professional amp. So, back then they were making them powerful. Mm. The pride and joy of Harvey, Illinois. The Dells and I touched a dream. Right here on Bedtime Stories on WOSD Radio, DB Chicago, WDLB, WCHI, I should say, Chicago, as well as WRLN Radio, a radio media station. 3 stations, one great show. And of course, this show is sponsored by
her songs will definitely put you in a sexy mood. Music that will soothe the soul. Her songs will definitely put you in a sexy mood. The sensual sounds of Micah, Love Me or Leave Me, Addicted, and Who Do You Think Of? Available on all download platforms and heard
Hey, Trish.
worldwide on.
And she's not bad to look at either. That's Micah. 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 Make sure you download her music. It's your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. Hello to Trish. And also, once again, hello to Glenn Stokes. Thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. Man, it's been a while. I hope to see you soon, man. Hope to see you soon. Here's the fifth dimension: love lines, angles, and rhymes on bedtime stories with your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. Hi, Trish. By the way, I'm taking donations once again tonight. The information is at the bottom of the screen. Donations are welcome via Zelle at 773-519-1223. And donations are appreciated. Like I said, around this time of the year, I don't make a lot of money because, people are broke right after Christmas. So ain't nobody having no parties unless it's a repass or something. So, once summer hits and these wedding receptions start popping up, yeah, then it's going to be all good. I remember when Herb would come out to Harvey to the Arch Roller Rink. Yep. I used to catch Herb DJing at a place called Just Us on 47th Street, right off of Champlain, where I used to live. And I used to beat him there. So I wanted to be there as soon as he got there, as soon as he would pull up in his Cadillac. I'd be like, need some help, Mr. Kent? Carry your records? So that went on for a while. Carrying Herb Kent's records was my MO. And I ended up working for him. And every time I would work for him, I would end up getting a job. So, then he'd have to find somebody else to do his work or to carry his records for him. So at one point I came back to him after I lost my job. He said, you can't work for me no more. Every time you come back to work, you end up getting hired at another radio station. I said, yeah, well, I thought that was the whole idea, right? He said, but yeah, every time I have to hire somebody else in your spot. I said, oh, okay. So, but we would get together at St. Philip Neri whenever they had parties. They had parties like 3 times a year. Valentine's Day, they would have a summer party, and then they would have Sweetest Day party. So, and Herb was always the DJ, and I was the backup and the equipment guy. Yep. Yeah, he was very generous in his paying because I think they paid him something like $1,500 or $750, I think it was, and he would donate the money back to the church. Um, yep. But in his later years, he would keep the money, you know, and there was a reason for that, you know. You guys remain friends after that, right? When you get it, I, I still have my phone, still have my same phone number. I have something for you. Thank you, man. I might come out there tomorrow because I'm, like I said, t- times is hard. Every every time a bill comes up, I'm like, ooh, I got to pay a bill. Oh, guess that's part of being a grown person, right? You know. Yep. I mean, it was easier when I didn't have children. But my children are grown now, so it's all good. You know. Ooh, all of a sudden it got warm in here. 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. we're open. Yep. Okay. Yep. It was a little bit easier when I was still at home. You know. I had a little bit more money to play with. That was my wife's money. You know. But that ended quickly and abruptly. So, but yeah, I'm gonna try to make it out there tomorrow. Sergio Mendez and Never Gonna Let You Go, right here on Bedtime Stories. The show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed but never to sleep with the greatest love songs of all time. Once again, thank you, Glenn Stokes. I will see you tomorrow. It's been rough. It's hard out here for a pimp, I tell you. Anyway, coming up in our last hour, we do a little thing we call foreplay. Four songs by one of your favorite artists or groups, male or female. That's in the last hour here on Bedtime Stories with me, your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. And as always, I thank you guys for listening because you could have been anywhere else listening to who knows, but you're listening to me, and I appreciate that. Here's a song that was written by Rod Temperton. For those of you who don't know who Rod Temperton is, He was the keyboard player for the group Heatwave. Well, originally they recorded this song, but unfortunately it never made it to one of the albums that Heatwave did. So he gave the song to George Benson for his first album on Quest Records, which was produced by Quincy Jones. Here's Turn Out the Lamplight. George Washington Benson, that's his government name, right here on Bedtime Stories. Always joy to me that I would rather be. To find cross my mind and right. So turn out the lamplight. So turn out the lamp light. He's back. Oh, good God. Had to switch shirts. Had on a had on a sweater and it was doing a number on me.
is always joy to me, and a place that I would rather be. Need to see the heaven in your eyes. 'Cause you're the love that's always hard to find. Every dream that's ever crossed my mind. Only you can make a day right. So turn off the lamp light, sit by my side, love me tonight. Turn out the lamplight. Turn off the lamp light. Let's dream for a while. Just you and I. On the way, we problems and go. It's nice to think about the love we found. All I need is you and I get whew, good God. And those things may make me so well. Darling, you still take my breath away. 'Cause time can change the warmth inside your smile. So turn off the red light, sit by my side, love me tonight. Turn off the red light, let's dream for a while, just you and ain't a place I'd rather be. All the years you make me hold and darling, you still take my breath away. Turn up the lamp, sit by my side. Turn up the lamp. That is the original version of Turn Out the Lamplight, done by Johnny Wilder and Heatwave, right here on Bedtime Stories. The show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed but never to sleep with the greatest love songs of all time. Right here on these three radio stations. Yeah, it takes three radio stations to hold me down, and I appreciate it. Three radio stations and four computers. That's how we do it. One I use to get on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. The other one uses software where I can get to the website. The third one just plays music. And then the fourth one is a backup, just in case the big computer acts stupid, which it has been since last night. It just shut down. I'm like, what the hell? Anyway,
You're the Isley Brothers and Real Woman. Mm, mm. You. Oh, yeah. And to make you cry. Mm-mm-mm. I know we discussed this the other night, but how many people actually still watch the news? Yeah, me either. But anyway, yeah, I've just been out of touch, I guess. I'm like, I'm still in shock that somebody. Never mind. I don't even want to talk about it. Don't even want to talk about it. Sure enough. Two in a row from the Isley Brothers. At your best, you are love. You're a positive, motivating force within my life. And if you ever feel the need to wonder why, just let me know. Just let me know. I love those lyrics. I remember back in the day, we would read along, with the album covers. You would open the album cover or the sleeve, and there would be the words to all of the songs, and you would just follow along and remember every lyric of every song, and even the liner notes. That's how I learned, reading liner notes, and I retained most of that information. You know, they say when you smoke weed, you kind of burn up some brain cells. So far, it hasn't, affected me. So I'm good. I'm good. For Lady Lynn, there's the great Lou Rawls. Ain't that loving you for more reasons than one? And you know what reason that is, baby. Here's Lou on Bedtime Stories. Lady G. Mhm. Lady G. You got me in love with that Lou Rawls song. It's like the first time I played it, I was like, I remember that one. I don't even think that was a single. Was it a single? Or whatever. It's like every time I play it now, I'm like, won't you kiss me one more time? I'm like, come on, Lou. 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 That song that's a jam. It's like every time I play it, I guess because it's Philadelphia, that whole MFSB thing. But that's like after MFSB. Oh yeah, I like that song. Um, and here's the story about MFSB. The three main people in MFS, that's all, folks. MFSB had left, and that was Baker, Harris, and Young. Ron Baker, Norman Harris, and Earl Young. They had all left to join the South Soul Orchestra. So they were replaced by, other session musicians, Bobby Eli, Michael Sugar Bear Foreman, and who was the drummer? Dennis Chambers was the drummer. So it was a whole group of people that were not original members of MFSB. And the three of those guys, which were the nucleus of the group, um, or the band or the orchestra, they left to be a part of the South Soul Orchestra. And they took the sound with them. But of course, um, Gamble and Huff had to scramble and get other people in that spot. So they had other, guitarists, because it was like at least three guitar players in MFSB. It's kind of like the Funk Brothers, but they were the Funk Brothers of Philadelphia. So different Stokes to move the world. Thank you, Troy. But this was, like I said, after MFSB. It was still known as MFSB, but there were different musicians in there, which was kind of cool because they still had the same sound. If you listen to Lou Rawls' song, none of the original MFSB rhythm section was in that song. And I didn't know that. I thought, oh, that was, Baker Harris Young. No, it wasn't. It was Chambers, Foreman, and whomever else. I'm like, oh, okay. But they still sounded great. They still sounded great. Mm-hmm. Mm-mm-mm. I know, right? It still has that that MFSB sound. So then you do 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 do. Mm-hmm. Then you occur to you. In so many ways. I was a finalist to play Fred Williamson in the biopic, but didn't get it because I was too muscular and my voice was too deep. Okay. All right, Troy. As I call him, the original Luther, before Luther Vandross. That is Luther Ingram. Ain't That Loving You for More Reasons Than One. Before that, same song, different artist. Lou Rawls. Same thing. Ain't That Loving You for More Reasons Than One. It is your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer, just ahead of foreplay in about less than 20 minutes right here on Bedtime Stories. Hello to Barbara Jean and to Lady G. Speaking of Lady G, she turned me on to this song. I had forgotten about it. Will You Kiss Me One More Time? One More Time from Lou Rawls on Bedtime Stories with your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. Get a little choked up there. Boo-doo-doo. Barbara Jean. Day. Arthur Connolly has a reference to Lou Rawls. You should check it out. Not sure. If you're speaking of sweet soul music, which came out before you were born. That's funny. I'm the king. Don't forget it. Yep. Oh, one hit wonder Arthur Connolly. He was one and done. I know, right, Glenn? He thinks I don't know anything. It's like, it's like, duh. Used to have the 45. Do you like good music? Kiss me, kiss me. What kind of music did you listen to before I taught you everything you know about music? I didn't even know you. That is funny. Taught me about music. That's a good one. Unless your name is Herb Kent, Richard McGee, Jim Rags, Richard Steele. Like, I didn't even know you. Shoot. They were already grooming me. And I had two babysitters who liked the Beatles. So, nope. Yeah. Unfortunately, there were no Polish people on my block growing up. None. That is funny. Taught me how to. In your dreams, Troy. I'm the king. That is funny. Taught me everything. Yeah, I bet. Ah. That is so funny. Mm. I like to know what you smoking before you get into the chat room, boy. I'm just smoking weed. I don't know what you smoking. I am 64 years old, and nobody younger than me has ever taught me anything. No student of mine. That's crazy. That is some good stuff. What are you drinking? That's some good yak or something. I'm like, dang, good grief. That's some powerful stuff. Whatever you drinking or smoking, that is powerful. It really is. Mm-mm-mm. That is some good stuff. Glenn Miller, he went way back, but that's good. Mm-mm-mm. That is some good stuff. Please pass it on to me so that I can hallucinate too. That's some hallucinating stuff. I want some of that, boy. Oh, oh, oh. You said Glenn Miller. Hmm. Yep. So we can all be in the mood with Glenn Miller. That was stuff that my dad used to listen to. It's like Glenn Miller records laying around the house and stuff, you know. I remember watching the Glenn Miller movie with who was that? Steve Allen that played him? Somebody. I'm like, okay. It was either Steve Allen or Dr. Jimmy Stewart. Yeah. Glenn got in the plane and was never heard from again. You had a poster of Artie Shaw on the bikini. That is funny. But in the mood was that was a cold track, boy. In the mood. Dun dun dabba doo ba dum dabba doo ba 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 dabba doo ba ba doo ba doo 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 ba da doo ba doo ba boo doo doo ba da doo ba doo ba doo doo doo. Dun 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 ba ba da ba da ba boo da 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 ba da ba da ba da ba da ba da. Boom 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 boom. Yep, that was cold back in the day. And what was that little string of pearls? Boom, 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 doo ba doo, boom, boom, doo, doo, doo ba doo, doo. That is such a pretty song. It's pretty because of the arrangement, which was done by Gene Page, who did all the arrangements for all of Barry White's songs. That is Johnny Taylor from his Beverly Glen days. And I'm so proud right here on Bedtime Stories. Man, he went from Columbia to Beverly Glen. I guess Columbia couldn't handle him no more. He was one of the first artists to go platinum. Before that, it was like gold records. But Johnny was the first one to go platinum with Disco Lady. How about that? A brother. How about that? 7 minutes from now, we're going to foreplay. Right now, here's Paul Hardcastle and Helen Rogers, Children of the Ghetto. Oh, yeah. Paul Hardcastle. Mm-mm. Children of the Ghetto. Keep your head to the sky. Paul Hardcastle. Are you learning? Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. That's the whole idea behind the show is to, educate people and not just play music just to be playing music. You know, I used to, hear the other jocks, from 19 whatever, whatever, you know, he started off as a waiter and somebody heard him sing and the next thing you know, he was in a group. Like cool. So, and I like to do the history because it just, it sounds better than say, hey, here's so and so. It's like, okay, you want to tell us a little bit about that song? If it's new music, it's like it's not much to say unless you um, tell the artist's real name or something. He was born James Todd Smith, but we know him as LL Cool J. You know, it doesn't sound the same when you're doing like pop radio or new R&B stuff. It just doesn't. It's not the same. So yeah, just not the same. But yep, I learned all of that from listening to the masters. Yep, just not the same. That is Paul Hardcastle and Children of the Ghetto right here on Bedtime Stories. It's your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. We're just ahead of foreplay. But first, a word from one of our sponsors. Now, this is a concert that's coming up in March. So, I'm trying to get ahead of things. Plus, I'm trying to get them to give me a little bit more money, too. But anyway, where did it go? Where is it? This is live radio, so, Oh, here it is. It's this one. For ticket information, go to freedomhall.org. I think it is freedomhall.org to get tickets for that show and others. They're they're getting down over there, I tell you. Anyway, we are WOSD Radio DB Chicago, WCHI Chicago, bigsradio.com, and WRLN Radio, a Ray Neal media station. It is time for foreplay. These guys met while singing in high school. They were known as the L Rays. That's right, the L Rays. They made a couple of songs, and of course, they bombed and they broke up. They reformed and signed with a little known label by the name of VJ Records. Only because Leonard Chess said that you guys can't sing. Y'all suck. So they went over to VJ Records and had an instant hit. And that hit was "Oh, What a Night." Later on, Leonard Chess said, let me rethink this. Maybe I'll hire you guys back. It's like you didn't hire us in the first place. So by that time, they had changed their name to 5 letters. There were 5 guys in the group. And those guys remained a group for almost 60 years. At one time, one of the members of the group said, "We've outlasted most of our marriages," which I thought was funny. Anyway, they are the pride and joy of Harvey, Illinois, and they used to doo-wop on 157th and 159th and Roby. I think that's where it was a malt shop, and they used to sing there every day after school until they got good. They got really good. One of the few groups that started off in doo-wop and ended up singing R&B and having a hit in the 90s. What can you say about this group? But, ladies and gentlemen, the pride and joy of Harvey, Illinois, these are the Dells. Inside Foreplay.
Won't let you sleep.
Wonder who owns the masters to the chest stuff. Nadine. Where are you tonight, Nadine? Well, Chuck Barksdale, Marvin Jr., Johnny Carter, Johnny Funches, Vern Allison, Mickey McGill, aka the original Babyface. Come on, Chuck. Mm-mm. One more chance, Nadine. All right, your video is blocked and cannot be viewed in 3 locations. What are those locations? Let me find out first. Oh well, I'll just keep going. Ooh, well, YouTube didn't block me. Let's see if Twitch blocked me. Watch on Twitch. No, just Facebook. Yeah. Dang. Many different ways. Simply says. Ooh. And time seems to be flying tonight, boy. I tell you, it's flying. It's flying. I tell you. Mm-mm. This just in. Breaking news. Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard and her boyfriend jumps on activist Jedediah Brown and his critics. Tiffany Henyard's wig fell off and will end in arrests and lawsuits. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Do 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 do. Mm, 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 mm. Mm, mm, mm. The ice cream parlor. Yeah. 147th and Sibley. I could not think of that for nothing. Thank you. Can't really no pain. When they made the bossa nova bird, I know, right? That just they were trying to find their whatever their groove was, you know, and their groove wasn't up tempo songs. It was mostly ballads, you know. But yeah, the bossa nova bird was on a subsidiary of Chess Records. It was on the Argo label. Yeah, Argo was actually the jazz label of Chess. Yeah, Chess, Checkers, and Argo. Argo was the jazz label. Checkers was more bluesy, and then Chess was just R&B. Yeah. Yep. Give a hand to you. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Glenn Stokes. I could not think of the name of the place. They used to sing under the subway um, on 147th Street. I could not think of that for nothing. But uh, but thank you for that information. I really appreciate it. It's your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer, wrapping up foreplay on the Dells, the pride and joy of Harvey, Illinois. They used to meet at a soda shop on 147th Street. Um, that spot is still there. Unfortunately, I think it's closed, but anyway, it's still there. Anyway, thank you once again, Glenn Stokes, for that information. And of course, foreplay dedicated to you and your wife. I couldn't play all of their songs because, well, it's foreplay. So slots were like four songs. So I'm going to play two more by the Dells. This is a song they redid back in, first they did, the first version was in 62, I believe. And they redid it in 68. You're the Dells, and stay, darling. Oh, stay, darling. I cry. I love you. Really love you. Stay. You're welcome, Glenn. No problem. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm. I think. Ooh, Huey. Just a kiss from you. What's the Zelle number? 773-519-1223. And it comes up my government name, Alonzo. Stay. 773-519-1223. Or alpgreer@gmail.com. Stay, stay. Amen. 1223. Doo doo up this morning. And I cry. Soaking wet. Doo doo up. Doo doo up. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I miss you. My life. What am I gonna do? Who's gonna love me? Miss you. You're tearing it apart. Mm-hmm. What am I gonna do? And your kisses too. Mm-mm. I heard that. If you come back, I'll treat you right. The Dells and I Miss You right here on Bedtime Stories. The show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed, but never to sleep with the greatest love songs of all time. And I thank you, Glenn Stokes. I appreciate you for staying up with me. I really do. Maybe I can get me another computer tomorrow because my other one keeps stopping and starting. That's why I'm using the backup computer today. But anyway, back in I think it was like 1978, 79, something like that. There was an instrumental that just took everybody by storm and made this guy a household name. The guy I'm talking about is Grover Washington Jr. Well, a lot of people have never heard the original version of Mr. Magic because they were so taken by Mr. Grover Washington Jr.'s version. They didn't even know there was words to it. Well, here are the words from Roberta Flack. This is the original Mr. Magic on Bedtime Stories. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. Ba-da-ba. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba. The magic, where have you gone? Mm-hmm. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Thank you, Mr. Stokes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Have you gone? Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. Yep, I'll be trying to catch up. I tell you. I mean, it's like when everything hits all at once. It's like, ooh. They always say, "Have enough money. We're going to deduct this. So have enough money in your account." I'm like, okay. I don't know how I'm gonna do that, but okay. Yeah. But every little bit helps, and I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah. So I'm not so far in the negative now. It's just like it's coming back. So if I can get these two people to pay me, I'll have $1,000, and I'll be all right. Yeah, it's just I'm playing catch up right now. So Thank you. Thank you so much, Glenn. I really appreciate it. I really do. New Edition. Yeah. Before he became a Winnebago. Yeah, I remember that. You know, it's funny. I remember meeting New Edition before they blew up. They had one song out, and that was Candy Girl. And they came down to Kennedy King when we were still on 69th and Wentworth. And they were from Boston, so they thought they was, they thought they was gangster, right? So what did we do? We took them to 63rd Street. We said, now get out the car. They were like, wait a minute, get out the car. You so bad? Come on. Mix with the people. They're like, oh hell no, let us back in this car. This this is not our ghetto. This is y'all ghetto. Yep. They thought they was tough with their rings on and stuff. Said, boys, y'all will get jacked on 63rd Street. They thought they was tough. Yep. Gave them a wake-up call. Now, everybody had showed up except for Bobby. This was the thing. Bobby wasn't ready to get up that early. They had to be at the station at a certain time. And Bobby decided he was going to stay in the motel room or the hotel room and sleep. And that was it. So it was Ronnie, Ralph, and Mike Bivens, and Ricky Bell. No Bobby Brown. Um, Johnny Gill hadn't even gotten in the group yet. Yep. Bobby decided he was going to sleep in while the other guys were doing all the work, which was doing interviews. And we said, hey, we're going to start you all a fan club and everything. Never got any contact information or anything, except from the promoter. And the promoter was, the record promoter was Gus Redman at the time. You said Robert's Motel, yeah. Yep. And the rest, as they say, was history. My newest discovery, her name is Micah. That's Micah, and Addicted. the song that she wrote for her friend because she's like, why don't you write a song for me so I can play it when I get high? So those are some of the lyrics in it. I want to roll you up, smoke you up. I'm like, yeah. And it's funny because drugs you can always get off. You can put it down anytime, but when you're in love, sometimes it lasts forever. You can be in love with one person forever. You can break up with them, divorce, move to another town, but you still have a heart for them. Love is stronger than any drug. Ain't that right, Wanda? You're the Blackbirds. Mysterious vibes on Bedtime Stories. Could you imagine they were going to be that great later on in life? No. And I'll tell you why. Because, you know, they weren't the most mannerable young men. I was a little bit older. I was in my 20s at the time, and they were just teenagers. I'm like, they're never going to make it. They are never going to make it. Boy, was I wrong, huh? I said, they're never going to make it. They're going to end up dead, is what I said. They're going to end up, drug overdosing, drinking too much, that whole thing. But they survived it all. I was like, wow, Bobby should have been gone. You don't hear about the other guys, Ronnie DeVoe. Mm-mm. Nope. And I said this. I said they're gonna be gone. They're not gonna make it. Boy, was I wrong. Boy, was I wrong. They outlived everybody. I mean, when you think about all the, and I don't mean life. I mean like hits and everything else, and being in the business. They what was it? 96 Degrees and um, New Kids on the Block. Man, because they tried to use that formula, and it didn't quite work. You had all these boy bands out here, and New Edition. They got theirs from, of course, the Jackson Five. They were named New Edition for a reason. They were the new edition of the Jackson Five, and that's how they got their name. Yeah. But Glenn, I didn't think they were gonna make it. You know, I thought they were gonna get shot, overdosed, drank themselves to death. None of that. None of that. Now, when Bobby got put out of the group, I just knew that he was done. Did I know he was going to go on to, when he came out with that album, Don't Be Cruel, that was it. You know, he had proved to everyone that he didn't need the group. And he lasted for a few years without the group. He carried on without the group. And the next thing you know, hey, he had a hit out, he had a platinum album out with the help of, I mean, you can't go wrong. He had two of the hottest producers ever, Babyface and Teddy Riley. Teddy Riley did My Prerogative. and all the slow stuff was done by Babyface. You couldn't go wrong with that. And with a little help from a little auto tune, he had a hit album.
You're listening to my Big Daddy, Al Greer, with Bedtime Stories.
This was before Whitney, Glenn. This was way before Whitney. He had just put out the album Don't Be Cruel and hadn't even performed in front of Whitney yet. And she saw them pelvic thrusts and everything else. She was like, yeah, he gonna be my husband. I'm like, dang. Yeah, she, don't you think Whitney had his back too? He admitted himself, he said, I don't even sing around the house. How do you sing in front of Whitney Houston? Like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know you were standing behind me, Whitney. Like, shut up. There's only one singer in this house. Did you know that Bobby Brown, Al Green, and Barry White aren't related? Yeah, okay. But anyway. I mean, but how do you sing around the house and you got the greatest singer in the house? So that was it. He was like, I'm going to shut up. Said, you won't hear a peep out of me. Bobby thought he was the boss, boy. Like, she said, Bobby, get out of my house. He said, your house. She said, that's right. This is my house. Go on back to Boston, Atlanta, wherever you got cribs. Yeah. She was like, get out of my house. This is my house. Said, it is time for you to go. Bobby came in the house. He had been out doing his thing. She said, keep on doing your thing, bro. But she was crazy about him. It was a love-hate relationship. and a threesome that never happened. It was Whitney, Robin, and Bobby. Either Whitney was with Robin or Whitney was with Bobby. And of course, Robin couldn't bear any children, so. That was it. That were it. See the light. You thought that was just talk. Oh no. Whitney was in love with Robin before she even saw Bobby Brown. Yep. Talk about a collaboration. Bob James, David Sanborn, Al Jarreau. Since I Fell for You, right here on Bedtime Stories. That's a hell of a combination right there. It's your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. This is Bedtime Stories, the show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed but never to sleep with the greatest love songs of all time. Once again, thanking Glenn Stokes for the donation tonight. I tell you, it's going to help me get to payday. One of these days, I won't have to beg, you know. Anyway, it is your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer, with the Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin. Ain't nothing like the real thing. Statement that I made earlier, I guess it applied to Whitney about love. Yeah. We don't, we can't control who we love. You know, we can't control that. Either we just, that's just it. You know, I met a girl once and I saw her, I was working at a store and I was like, she was just so beautiful, drop dead gorgeous. And I said, oh my goodness, you're going to be my wife. She was like, who are you? What are you? What are you? Who are you? And one thing led to another. And before you knew it, hey, I was in love. I was to her, I was just something to do. She didn't take me seriously at all. You know, I was just something to do. You know, she wasn't really into me like that. I was just head over heels in love with her. You know, but you know, even with that, she had some cracks. You know, there was some cracks in the wall, cracks in the ceiling. I remember she asked me for tickets to go see um, Patti LaBelle. She said, I know you can get tickets to see Patti LaBelle, right? I was like, sure, yeah. And I lucked up. I lucked up and got tickets to see Patti LaBelle. But the trade-off was I had to go to a wedding reception with her. I was like, okay, cool. So I went to the wedding reception and we were leaving the reception and she just went in on me, like, you know, but she really wanted to see Patty and she just started, you know, you had one thing to do and I asked you and you did, and you said you could do it and you didn't do it. That's what's wrong with you, man. And she kept going. She's like, where are we going? I said, we're going to see my aunt in Maryville. I don't want to see your aunt. I don't want to see nobody. Oh, let me out the car. It's like, just listen to the radio. Sit back and listen to the radio. She just, you don't tell me what to do. And then she just kept going. We got to Maryville. When you get off the expressway, there's a big building over there that says Star Plaza. And they have like a marquee. And on the marquee, it said Patti LaBelle.
It's time for bedtime stories with Al Greer.
Yep. And she looked up and saw the sign. She was like, oh. I said, yeah. I thought we were going to see your auntie. I said, yeah, we're going to see Auntie Patty. She asked me who my aunt was. I said, her name is Patricia. And it never dawned on her that Patricia was long for Patty, And she looked up and saw the sign. She was like, I said, yeah, you want to keep talking? You want to keep downing me? Go right ahead. And we pulled into that parking lot, boy. That was it. She was like, oh my God. Yeah, I know. That was the end of it. Yep. One thing led to another, and we went into the concert. I got my tickets from Will Call. We just walked right in. She was like, yep. Yep, 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 yep. Oh, yeah. Talk about surprise, surprise, surprise. Dr. William H. Cosby Jr., Bill Cosby from the album Bill Cosby's Not Himself These Days. Yes, yes, yes. It's parody on Mr. Barry White. That's it for me. Thank you so much, Glenn and everybody else. That's my time. Till next time, blue skies, green lights, and peace. Good night, Miss Delicious. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you again, Glenn. I appreciate you.